Welcome to the EpicMan podcast, where we let our curiosities and theories run wild and sometimes talk relevant news. I'm Josiah, and with me, my two friends and co-hosts, Ben and Michael. How are you guys doing today?
Good, except for this terrible storm that's blowing through here right now. Not a fan of that.
We'll see if we can get through this podcast without
without someone losing power,
without everything crashing. So we'll see.
The winds are like 60 miles an hour or something like that.
Oh yeah.
I went and
there's supposedly going to be hail tonight. You know,
I was getting Taco Bell, and there's a tree on the fence at Taco Bell. And
yeah, dude, the neighbor's tree fell over our fence in our yard, and
time to take it away.
Crazy times out there right now.
Yeah,
crazy times.
It's climate change.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Someone I know had a tree branch fall through their windshield of their car.
Oh snap!
Why did they put their car there?
Wow.
Wow.
No,
that was a very smart idea.
Yeah, somebody had somebody I know had a tree fall and crack their roof.
Maybe it's just in their driveway.
Why did they put their house there?
Cringe. Imagine putting your house by trees.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
It's a real problem.
It really is.
Don't put your house by trees. Duh.
So I one time worked at a house, and it was an older guy who had a tree fall through his roof, and he lived on pretty high. It was a 2-story house, but it was pretty high up. It was a big tree, and dude, it was 1 foot away from his bed, and it was one branch that was this big around. For people that are not watching, it was I don't know, 4 or 5 inches around, and it went straight through his ceiling and right into the floor and stuck into the floor. But had it been a foot over, it would have went right through his body.
Holy cow!
Yeah, dude would have been dead. I was like, oh,
yeah,
jeez.
Yeah, it was rough.
Jeez,
it was a rough go for him. You know?
Yeah, I almost had a friend get impaled when we were canoeing and stuff.
With a tree?
Really? Yeah, because it was a really sharp branch, and I don't know why he was in the other canoe, but he was just canoeing right towards it, and
what?
The branch was sharp on the end of it, and he almost got impaled. If he didn't he went to the side and it gouged him on the side, right under the arm and stuff. But if he had gone straight at it, it might have gone right through him.
Jeez, dude.
Because that was it was not good.
That's
dude, what are you doing?
My first question was, why the frick was he canoeing towards a sharp branch?
Well, there's trees that are over the river and stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So, normal you see them.
Well, he was in a canoe with someone who was terrible at steering. So he was in the front, and then the guy in the back was
steering?
Because he was awful at steering. He didn't know how to steer.
Yeah, apparently because he almost killed himself.
I tell you what, I don't know. I don't understand how people suck so much at canoeing. Canoeing's.
It's not easy for everybody to handle.
Well,
yeah. It's not, but yeah. Kayaking's better anyway, though. I think.
No, it's not.
And you don't have to rely on a team member. You don't
literally
have to rely on a team member. You can just go by yourself.
Dude, kayaking is kayaking is the motorcycling of
canoeing. Exactly.
Yeah, cringe.
It's not cringe at all. I'd much rather be in a kayak. Listen, every time I've been freaking canoeing, I look at the two people in the canoe, whether they're having a good time or not, they're steering and pushing his canoe, and there you go, see them kayakers, and they're bye.
See, in a kayak, I feel I have way more control because I do. It's all me, I'm the one who controls whether or not I'm terrible in the kayak or not. I don't have to rely on someone else to steer me. If I have to rely on myself to steer someone else or them to steer me, I'm not here for it.
Well, it sounds like you should just start playing, all the battle royale games by yourself too, and then it's just you.
No,
it's just you.
No, that's not.
Listen, you don't have to rely on other people.
You
don't have to rely on other
myself
people.
The other night
no
and
team.
Got a 4th place win against quads by myself.
I also
because I didn't have anybody screwing me up. So
I got second place.
Riding my kayak.
There you go. Yep. There you go. You don't
I
need
got
to play with people anymore.
You can just play by yourself. Place in trios. So
look at that. See? Boom.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You can just play by yourself.
Battle royales.
You don't need to play with teams anymore. Who needs to play with teams?
Cringe. Ignoring the fact that it is completely not related at all.
Subject.
It is literally related.
That is the most.
You can literally take Ben's argument right there. You can literally take Ben's argument right there and apply it.
Okay.
two
That is
battle
the
royale
most
games.
It's not that you
straw man
can't.
argument I have
Okay.
ever heard.
You
You're like,
can
listen,
literally take the
if
same
you-
argument and
if you
apply
won't,
it.
if you won't row in this damn canoe, then don't play battle royale with me. No, that's
No,
not-
it's
I'm,
not-
I'm
okay.
saying if you're gonna,
It's
if
not-
you can use that same logic
Okay.
and apply it to battle royale. Like the whole point of battle royale is working with the team.
Josiah,
That's the beauty of using canoes. is that
It's
you can
Are you
not-
okay, Josiah?
All right.
Oh,
This
yeah,
is
are
the
you- are
okay.
you
It's
okay?
not the argument that's frustrating because the argument's fine, I guess. But
This is
I'm
straw
only
man.
using this for kayaking and canoeing. When it comes to everything else team-based, I love team-based.
everything
activities.
else, literally everything
Pretty much
else in
everything
the
else.
entire world except for kayaking.
Pretty much everything else
Listen,
team-based. I like
some-
team. I like.
Okay,
team
so then
scavenger
why
hunts.
do
I
you
like
hate-
team
why do you
paintball. I
hate-
like team everything.
Okay, then why do you
right?
hate
Well,
working
I like-
with a team on a
I
canoe?
like orgies.
It's okay.
You know, and everybody's
Yeah.
everybody's
It takes a team.
involved. There's
Yep.
hands. There's
Then-
shuffling around.
No, I want to know. But Ben, why is it then that you hate specifically? Apparently, the only thing in the entire universe, the only thing you
Specifically.
don't like using with a team is canoeing.
Because I really like to enjoy my time on the water. And if I have to worry about someone else messing that up, I don't want to deal with it.
So you
And
will
also at
only
the
go
same
with
point-
boat. So you'll only ever go in a boat by yourself.
I don't want to be in a
No,
boat by
no,
myself. I don't want to be in a
no.
boat at all.
No,
Boats are
wanna be in a-
amazing.
I
I,
will go.
love being in a
I
boat.
will
Listen,
go in a boat.
you know
I
what
will go in a
boats
boat
do?
with other people, but normally I will only go in a boat with someone who is experienced as a driver of that boat.
I'll even eat
Like,
green
I-
eggs and ham on a boat.
Well, that's a problem. Listen,
We don't need that reference right now.
listen.
But
Boats,
what I'm saying
boats
is-
sink, and canoes tip. And if
Yeah,
I'm not
and
in
cars
control,
crash.
yeah. But you know what? If I'm driving the car and I crash it because I did bad, that's
It's your
on
fault.
me.
Yeah.
On me.
I mean, well,
Listen.
things can happen to your car that are out of your control and stuff too.
Yeah,
True.
but
It
then,
can.
but you know what's not going to happen if I'm canoeing, or shouldn't happen if I'm canoeing
What's
or
that?
kayaking? Somebody else shouldn't run into me.
Exactly.
What are the chances if I'm kayaking? I'm like, and not only that, but I'm faster than you in a canoe. I'm like,
I mean,
ooh, and I'm like dodging you, and then you got the guy in the back, and he doesn't know how to steer, and the canoe's tipping,
I'm
and
just-
I go, oh no.
I'm
and then-
just saying, teamwork is great, but not when
Teamwork-
it comes to canoes. There,
I
I
don't-
don't know what it is, but I just can't do it.
I don't
hate
understand
Wow.
canoeing.
why you're so upset about this canoe thing.
well,
It's because
Canoe-
Josiah literally loves
Just-
canoeing.
Josiah's
It's like his one of his
how
favorite things.
dare you?
And he feels
Speak
the
out
thing
against
is he
canoes.
feels, even though we're not attacking him, he feels attacked. And so
No, I
he's
don't feel
going at
attacked.
us because
I don't.
he feels
I
attacked.
don't feel it. Like canoeing is like
Oh.
a sacred
dare you?
art. I don't know. There's something
Yeah,
ancient.
exactly. You
It's,
just
Oh,
it's been
this
around
is
for a while.
This is the Viking. Okay, listen. Josiah is like almost a pure-blooded Viking, like straight up, like all Northern European. And this is an issue of like ancestry and inheritance. He's upset not because we don't want to be in a canoe. He's upset because kayaks offend his Viking sensibility. How dare you paddle by yourself when my ancestors rode these boats over to your land to pillage and destroy and take over everything? You know what? They did it, and they did it rowing together. How
Yeah.
dare you
Yeah.
all?
no.
Imagine a bunch of Vikings just kayaking over.
Now we-
Cringe.
Listen,
Cringe.
we are now at the bottom of the subject. It is because Josiah's Vikingness can't conceive of not canoeing. How dare you? He's like, what is this? This is an affront to everything that I am.
Scam.
No,
Wow.
there's just something like, I don't know. There's something special about canoeing. It's just
Yeah,
like
to Vikings, that absolutely makes sense.
See, but the thing
100%.
is, I'm not a Viking. I don't have Viking heritage.
well,
I don't really care about what the Vikings did and what they didn't do and how they got across the water. What I care about is how I get across the water. And the way I choose to get across the water is in a kayak.
well, I mean,
So
yeah, but you're afraid of kayaks too, apparently. So
Josiah
I'm
is
not afraid of kayaks.
you
Josiah
refuse to go visit a lighthouse with us because you're scared of Lake Superior, and it's not even.
That's not because
it's
I'm afraid
in a
of
channel.
kayaks.
It's in a channel in Lake Superior. It's not even out in
not-
the open water, and you're like, oh,
I'm not afraid of the channel. I'm not afraid of the channel. I don't really want to drive all the way there.
oh my goodness.
listen. Now, listen. This is a day for people to see what's, listen. Josiah hates anything that's not a canoe because he's a Viking and his blood can't handle it.
Look, I
Ben doesn't want to
actually
drive to Lake
I don't
Superior.
mind. I don't mind kayaks either. Okay, if we go to,
Are you sure? Because you really sound
listen,
like
listen.
You seem pretty
Listen,
attacked when I say that kayaking
I don't mind
is the
kayaks,
way.
but
Okay.
they do not beat canoes. They just don't.
Yes,
beat
they
canoes.
do.
They literally do
Okay,
not.
if
beat
I
canoes.
were to race you in a kayak with you in a canoe, I would win.
I mean, I'm not talking about like racing. I'm just talking about like
Okay, well-
the significance, the
I don't know.
connection, the
Canoes
brotherhood,
and kayaks are all
the
pretty
relation,
significant. I'm
the
just saying.
intimate relationship of piloting a canoe together with somebody else. That's what it is.
That is,
I mean,
Josiah
it
likes
is a
intimate
bonding
relationships.
experience. It is a
Yeah.
bonding experience.
Well, it
I'm gonna
depends.
be honest with
I
you.
might
Sometimes
if I
it's
end
been
up hating the
opposite.
person, I'm not bonding.
Yeah.
Well,
Sometimes
that's
I've been in
because
real,
you're with shitty canoers.
yes.
So.
I've been with many shitty canoers.
Maybe all right. You know what?
And
Maybe
it's
I've
the
just been
worst.
damaged by bad experiences. Maybe that's what it is.
Just come canoe with me, Ben, and it
I
will
don't
change
want to
your
canoe
life.
with you
Listen,
because
we'll
you're
let
like
Ben,
a weird
Ben,
control freak.
Ben and Josiah will canoe together, and I'll be in the kayak.
No, I will not be subjected to that.
Wow.
I'll even like be one of those kayakers that
If,
puts like a little
if
like motor
Josiah's
on the
about to
back
try
of
to
the
make me
kayak.
canoe with him, I will rent my own kayak just so I don't have to do that.
Ben, you should canoe with Josiah. He wants a canoe with
Absolutely
you.
not.
He wants you
Absolutely
to
not.
pilot his canoe.
Hold on.
Well, then put your hands on
You can just be in the front, and I'll be in the back. And
Let Josiah take you from the back. Listen, put your hand on the oar and just let him work your canoe.
just let me take that ride wherever it goes.
How do you
Listen.
spell canoes?
Oh my goodness, Ben.
CANOE.
I don't know why I thought it had two ends.
Wow.
Wow. Well, listen. While Ben's looking
Canoe.
up stuff about this, it's interesting that you guys bring up water and canoeing and stuff because I ran into a really interesting conspiracy
It's like
theory.
quick change the subject.
Well, no, we'll come back to this because this isn't. I mean, just I can't let
Can
this
I
go.
all right, can I just say something real quick? My cat's about to just fall off her perch. Her literally half her body is off the perch, and she's
Hey,
just
Ben.
like teetering on the edge of extinction.
If your cat falls off the edge of that perch, that's your cat's fault.
I know, and it's hilarious
It is
because she's
But-
stupid.
because it's
So-
like, hey, you're like you're like a predator, and you're supposed to be like, But
She's not very good at being a cat.
apparently.
But anyway,
Oh,
Yours
I got
anyway.
super quiet. Wow, Josiah, really? Listen, I
I
would never
love
guess.
boats in general. Like I love all boats. I even love kayaking. Okay, I do
Listen,
like kayaking.
all boats matter
but
to Josiah,
but
but
kayaks are not better than
but not
canoeing.
kayaks. Kayaks don't matter.
No,
to
I do
Josiah.
like kayaks. I do
No,
like kayaks.
Listen, Josiah, all
I don't know.
kayaks matter too.
your argument's not really showing that.
I haven't. felt
my
like you
argument
liked-
is just that kayaking is not better than canoeing. That's my
haven't-
only argument.
I
here.
haven't ever felt like you liked kayaks, Josiah. In fact, I
I
felt
never
the
was.
opposite.
That's
I-
because you guys continue to attack canoes every time. You bring
no,
up
I just don't
kayaks.
want to be in a canoe. I want to be in a kayak, and you're like, how fudging dare you not sit in a canoe with me? And I'm like, I don't want to tip. You're like, you will never tip with me.
You
I
won't.
promise. I don't.
I've
want-
never had anyone
Josiah?
tip in a canoe with me ever.
You know, now that you said that, someone's gonna tip in a canoe with you, and it sure as heck isn't gonna be me. So
Well, I mean, if
That's
you
just-
didn't hate canoes, then maybe that wouldn't happen to you.
well,
Maybe you just
Maybe-
need to show
maybe just-
canoeing a little bit more respect.
Wow, listen, this is out of control.
this is out of control. I
So
think
Mike
someone-
was gonna make like a
Listen.
really awesome segue to something else.
Segue about water. We're talking about water. Listen,
Water,
I ran into
alright.
a really interesting conspiracy, and I
Oh.
kind of want to deal with this a little bit.
deal with
I
this.
kind of
okay?
want to talk about this a little bit. Okay.
Well, I don't really want to talk at
Uh-oh.
all right now, but that's fine.
Yeah. Well, I understand. Let me
I'm,
look up this
I'm
thing
not
real quick.
salty. I'm not salty, but
Are you sure about that? Because it
Are you
kind of
sure?
sounds like.
all right.
You
So
know.
what's this incredible water story
Okay.
thing?
So this happened kind of all at the same time.
Okay.
So people kind of put some things together. But
hmm
so back in like late April, an Indonesian submarine disappeared.
Okay.
They couldn't find it. They looked for it, couldn't find it anywhere. And then they found it like I think 2 weeks after it disappeared or something like that. Listen, if you fact check me, like don't at me. I'm just reading what I can read. Anyways, they found it deep in the Bali Sea. They said that the weird thing about the submarine was that it was broken in 3 pieces.
Okay.
And that is extremely extremely not normal for a submarine to be found in that kind of state.
In three pieces.
In three pieces like that. It just does, like, it doesn't make sense, because typically, I mean, even if something happened, even if it landed on something maybe broken into one piece, but for it to just split up into three pieces like that is really weird. And then if I remember correctly, it was well out of range of where it was supposed to be. Like, it was way out of the water that was supposed to be.
So what could cause it to break in three pieces?
Well, that's a really good question. I don't know.
That's what I'm wondering.
But you think, okay, well, listen, hey, canoe, wow, submarines disappear, gone. Who knows what happened? And then, not too long after that, and was this early June? I think this first started happening, or July. There was a giant fire that popped up in the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh yeah,
and they this is the weirdest thing about this is they kept saying that right here, like let me read this specifically to you. So no injuries were reported, blah 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 blah. The company added to investigate the cause of the fire. Pemex, which is the company that had this issue, has a long record of major industrial accidents at its facilities. Added it also shut valves of the 12-inch diameter pipeline. They claim it was a pipeline that was leaking oil, but listen to this. The head of the oil safety regulator, Mexico's oil safety regulator, who does not work for this company, he said it did not generate any spill. The incident did not generate any spill. He did not explain what was burning on the water's surface.
What?
But the best guess that anybody has said is that they believe it had to have been an oil leak, because it wouldn't make sense for what else could cause burning on the surface of the water. Who knows? But there's no spill, which we've seen oil spills before and stuff like that. So they don't even know, and nobody really has ever confirmed for sure 100% what caused this fire in the water. Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Weird. Super weird. They claim it was a burst pipeline, but it didn't cause any leaks. But yet at the same time, they're like, yeah, it probably was a ruptured pipeline. Okay.
Yeah.
Then this is in June. This happened in June.
Okay.
As well.
Yep.
The U.S. Navy detonated a 40,000-pound bomb off the Florida coast, which is not very far away from Mexico, the Bay of Mexico, where this happened.
Snap.
Yeah. They said marine mammal experts expressed deep concern over the potential devastating effects. U.S. Navy's recent detonation of 40,000 pounds of explosives off the Atlantic coast of Florida on sea life, but they don't really know why they did it. They said it registered as a magnitude 3.9 earthquake on shore.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of explosives.
They claim that it was a shock trial of new ship designs using live explosives, confirm that their warships can continue to meet demanding mission requirements under harsh conditions might encounter in battle. That's what they say. But see, what's the problem that's been found here is that the thing that people are starting to put together is that it kind of feels like something's going on, because then this also happened in June. Check this out. Here we go. This is getting crazy. Listen.
Yeah.
I've already read all this stuff off.
Caspian
Sea. There was a massive explosion in the Caspian Sea, like huge. Like you could see it from shore. It looked like a nuclear bomb went off, kind of explosion in the Caspian Sea. It's huge. Go look up Caspian Sea explosion. Go look at this. It's huge, and it's a giant flaming just column of fire coming out of the ocean. Okay. The explanation for it was that there were mud volcanoes.
Mud volcanoes.
Yep. Scientists are uncertain as to what caused mud volcanoes to ignite. Most likely theory is that the boulders and rocks propelled upwards during an explosion can knock against each other, causing a spark that lights gases.
Wait, I'm watching the video right now. They think that is coming from a mud volcano?
A mud volcano.
What?
Yeah. So
dude, that is crazy.
So I just popped off 5 articles saying that there's weird stuff happening right now in the water. That's not to mention off to the side of things that there have been a numerous sightings of Chinese vessels, American vessels all over the world, Navy vessels that have been appearing all over the world in really weird places. A lot of people are saying, oh, it's Chinese government's testing waters or testing borders, but like all these military vessels have been showing up in the water. Super weird. So the conspiracy, which may not be a conspiracy, you never know. Like the theory that some people have come to is that maybe something in the water that was living underwater woke up and decided to cause some problems.
Kaiju,
and maybe a kaiju, and the government is secretly trying to deal with this because it's causing all these problems. Because my thing is, the one consistent thing about this has been fire and explosions.
Right.
And what's causing that? And why all in the same month?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
So, I mean, I remember when that, like, the oil video came out and stuff, like, of the thing in the from Mexico or whatever.
Yep.
And I remember watching that and I was like, wait, this is like unlike any other oil spill I've ever seen before.
Yeah.
Like, if I remember correctly, it was even like that was like one of the craziest videos I've ever seen.
Yeah. It was like a bubbling like pit of like fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that video again because that was just like crazy.
What was it called? The explosion in Mexico and the Gulf.
It was just the Gulf of Mexico fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, if you guys have a chance to, like, go look up these videos. Go look up like the footage from these videos.
It is too.
Yeah, they're huge.
And it's like it's off the. It's like a ways.
It is right by a oil rig though.
It is. And that's the thing. If it was just an oil rig and it was a pipeline burst, then they could just say that. But they said that there was no leak, and nobody has just like, it's all been theorized that that's what caused the fire. But there's been no like official confirmation that yes, it was definitely a burst pipe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like, because you said there's like the safety inspector or something like that.
It was a guy from a guy that like is an oil inspector, like a safety inspector from Mexico, like said that there was no oil spill.
Yeah.
It's not even the company saying, oh nope, we didn't spill any oil.
Right.
It is like
a third party.
Government official. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not saying underwater kaiju, but I'm just saying, all this stuff happening all at the same time, and then it just so happens the U.S. military is like dropping bombs in the ocean, not that far away from the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, that
starts to look kind of sketchy. Submarine disappears, broken in 3 pieces. Really odd, really weird happenings. Gulf of Mexico on fire. And you got, the U.S. detonating bombs in the ocean. And then all of a sudden, Caspian Sea explodes with like an eruption of fire.
Right. Yeah. That's insane.
It is insane.
Because there's also like, there's a lot of people that think that like, I don't know, the core of the Earth is. Obviously we know that the core of the Earth is like, well, I don't know if we actually know for sure, but it's like pretty certain that the core of the Earth is like, really hot and stuff,
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that though, because I happen to.
It's also apparently super wet.
Yeah. Apparently there is a growing number of scientists that believe that there's actually an ocean beneath the Earth's surface.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. This is
pretty crazy, right?
Yeah. There's as much water inside the Earth as there is in all the oceans. That's the conclusion that scientists are reaching after a 2014 discovery planted the seed of the idea. So then it goes through and explains all of the different like layers of the ocean and stuff. One thing, they're saying that one thing that is just because there's so much water underground doesn't mean it's necessarily sloshing around like it does here on the surface, but it may be trapped in the ringwood like the chunk that researchers found. We do know exactly where the mantle is located. Yeah. Go ahead, Ben.
Oh, I know. I was going to say, didn't they find it? Like, they found like this thing that they made them believe that there's a lot of water. or something like the
It
ring.
was like a
with the-
chunk of
that's-
earth,
that's
and
what
yeah,
it
it was a ton of water in it.
Wow.
But
Mhm.
they're believing that there could potentially be like another ocean, or like, because that's the other thing too, is like deep down in the like ocean, like some places in the ocean go so deep we can't keep going down in there.
Yeah.
You know, I
Mhm.
mean, you know, we know that
Yeah,
there are underwater
exactly.
volcanoes.
How do
which
you know it
means-
doesn't lead all the way down there?
Yeah.
You know, like a little
And
tunnel.
what if the ocean within the earth is the home of something that woke up and came outside to
Yeah.
the surface ocean and stuff, you know? Like,
Yeah.
who
I mean,
knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
Could be a mosasaur down there still. Who can be sure? You know,
Could be something. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
listen,
mosasaur. Yeah,
mosasaur.
could be a lot of
you know?
things.
could be that mosasaur, you know?
But
That-
what's interesting about that too is,
mosasaur, buddy.
you know, it made me start looking at different things and weird unexplained, you know, things in the ocean. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, giant squid, and the fact that, like, even though we've seen some giant squid, like scientists believe that those things could get up to 60 feet long, maybe
Mhm.
even
Oh,
larger. than
you
that.
mean the colossal squid?
No, the giant squid. So the colossal squid is heavier, but they don't get nearly as long. They get like 20 to 30 feet. But apparently, like some giant squid, they believe could be like 60 feet long and
Wow.
like big enough. I mean, well, the fact is, you know, we know that sperm whales like to eat giant squid. And, you know, if you go look at some of those sperm whales, they like legit have cuts and scars all over their body
Oh yeah.
from their fight with giant squid.
Mhm.
You know, so like imagine something big enough to fight a whale, and then you got to think maybe some of those whales don't win that fight. I mean,
Yep. Yeah.
you know, so they're-
Exactly,
you
yeah.
know, but anyways, one of the things I started looking at and I thought was really interesting is this list of unexplained sounds that like have been like heard in the world that haven't been identified yet, and a large amount of these come from the ocean.
Okay.
Yeah, there's the upsweep. It's an unidentified sound detected on the National Oceanic and Atmosphere Administration. The sound was present when the Pacific Marine Environmental Laboratory began recording its sound surveillance system, 1991, and it appears to be like a seasonal sound that reaches peaks in spring and autumn, but they don't know what the sound is. They don't know
Really?
what causes it. Yeah.
I love mysterious sounds.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have ever. I don't know if this isn't like. I mean, it's not completely relevant, but it's just a cool fact. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to the sounds of planets, like from space and stuff. Like every planet has like its own like sound, like its own like from the like wavelengths that come from it.
Yeah.
And it sounds almost like music.
Mhm.
It's like really creepy and eerie, but it's super super cool. And so
Yeah.
I've always loved like mysterious or like
Yeah.
creepy sounds that we don't really know why they happen or what causes them, and
Yeah.
so that stuff's really cool to me.
It is really cool. There's another one called the Whistle, which was picked up in 1997. It's unknown. Its source is somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, and they said they don't know what it is. It was only picked up by one hydrophone, and you can actually go look these up on
YouTube,
Wikipedia or YouTube. Like this one, the whistle is creepy. It literally sounds like wind blowing, but it's underwater.
Mm-hmm.
And then the most famous of them actually was what's called the Bloop, and scientists heard it. And what's interesting about it is it was let me see here, using hydrophones and underwater microphones that were placed more than 3,219 kilometers apart across the Pacific Ocean, so over 2,000 miles apart from each other. They recorded numerous instances of this noise, and it just is like a bloop, but underwater. The like context of something being heard by multiple microphones thousands of miles away from each other means that it was like one of the loudest sounds ever recorded in history. And there's like rumors, and now that they think that they've explained it as it just being a ice quake.
An ice quake.
An ice quake where like different sometimes it's like icebergs cracking into each other,
yeah.
or like that's what they claim, but they said that they've never heard any ones of this loud.
Wow.
Yep. Isn't that crazy?
That is.
And it also just so happens, and this is my favorite part about the whole thing, is that it is extremely near the location of H.P. Lovecraft's fictional city of R'lyeh, which is where Cthulhu is supposedly imprisoned.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
it is. So
Wow.
just yeah.
Yeah. Well, thinking about like the ocean literally being like on fire and stuff. Like you can go watch a clip of it like online and stuff. Like there's plenty of clips showing it online and stuff. Of like, this apparent oil spill that is, that literally has like the water on fire. Like if you're looking at the video, like you see flames in the water.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
It looks like a pool of lava, not like water.
Yeah.
Like it's really cool.
It's crazy. That's like that's one of the craziest videos I've ever seen. And then talking about like this fire from the Caspian Sea, all of this kind of like made me start to think about the Leviathan, like from the Bible and stuff.
Ooh.
Because the Leviathan, I haven't pulled it up here. This is kind of the second part about it. But it says, I will not fail to speak of Leviathan's limbs, its strength, and its graceful form, who can strip off its outer coat, who can penetrate its double coat of armor, who dares open the doors of its mouth, ringed about with fearsome teeth. Its back has rows of shields, tightly sealed together. Each is so close to the next that no air can pass between. So, and then it goes on, but this part is really, really interesting. It says, flames stream from its mouth. Sparks of fire shoot out. Smoke pours from its nostrils as from a boiling pot over burning reeds. Its breath sets coals ablaze and flames dart from its mouth.
Yeah.
That just sounds like a dragon to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Leviathan is notably a creature of the water.
Yep. Yeah, well, because it talks about it churning the waters and stuff too.
Yep. And it talks about can you catch it with a fish hook and stuff, It's like, can you catch the Leviathan with a fish hook? Obviously not, So, so this is a creature of the water from the Bible that shoots flames from its mouth, apparently.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
what do you do with that?
Like, and now people are like have these theories going on about like some creature of the ocean that's like connected or correlated with the flames in the water from the oil spill, quote unquote oil spill, and the flames from the Caspian Sea and stuff. And if you have the government trying to basically nuke something from the water as well, the military, like obviously the military isn't going to actually tell us if there's like something like that going on,
if there are aliens here, the military wouldn't tell us.
Yeah, obviously. Like, so they can just say, "Oh, we're just testing." That's like the oldest excuse in the book, right? Like they use that excuse for all sorts of things and stuff. It's just testing. We're just testing. Yeah. So it could, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's interesting too about that is that, in order to like explain it, eventually like scholars just said it was a crocodile.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what crocodile do you know that like can spit fire from its mouth or like,
like the Bible is very specific that this thing shoots fire.
Yeah.
Like it goes on for like almost like 3 verses about it. So,
and it spits fire. Trust me.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like this weird thing of like, okay, because I'm always fascinated by that scripture too. Like, why would you describe this thing and it be, a thing, but we've seen in multiple, go ahead, Ben.
I was gonna say, what book is this, and who's the author?
Job. It's in Job.
Okay. I don't know who the author is, but I mean, that wasn't just in the Bible. I mean, that's in the Hebrew text and stuff. I mean, but it lends itself to the fact that there's a lot of like all the different things, and one of the consistent things we've talked about in this podcast about dragons is that they breathe fire, and it's across multiple accounts across multiple like civilizations that at some point there was some kind of fire breathing monster that was like lizard like and was not easily killed by conventional weaponry,
right? I mean,
so
we see that
fascinating.
Yeah, we see that in mythology, right? We see that in mythology all over the place as well. And obviously like Ben was saying, that sounds like a dragon and stuff, so there's that correlation as well. And so I don't know, it's crazy. Really crazy.
It is crazy.
All connected.
And of course, there's a lot of people that are going to downplay that, people, small-minded people and stuff who want to, say that things like that never existed or whatever,
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of what we were talking about even like last week, Mike, with like how people take all these, great stories and all these heroes from the past and all these larger than life things, and they basically dumb them down and minimize them in a way into the box of what our modern day perspective is, like, well, today, what do we have walking around? We have crocodiles, but who's to say that was the only thing that was like that, 2, 3, 4,000 years ago, So
yeah,
crazy.
It's crazy. There's actually another sound too that is found over in the Arctic Circle, like by Canada. It's called the ping. It's heard.
I've heard that one.
Yeah, it is heard in the Furian Hecla Strait of northern Canada. It's currently being investigated by Canadian military authorities.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah. So like, what do you do? I mean, like most of these sounds come from the ocean, and it's hard to like know exactly where they all come from, but like we know for sure, like in nature, like sperm whales, like their clicks that they use to communicate are so loud that if a human being was like next to one when they let off a full volume click, it would rupture your insides and you'd die.
Jeez, that's insane.
It's over 100 decibels or something like that. Sperm whale clicks are. Yeah, like it's loud enough that you would instantly go deaf on like if you were near one and could hear it like full volume. It's like one of the loudest things on earth, and yet the bloop was louder than that.
Really?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yep.
So could it be from something that's larger than a sperm whale that's out there?
Hey, it's a good question.
I mean, there's stuff larger than sperm whale, like the blue whale, for example.
Like, yeah, but blue whales don't breathe fire or
that's true.
spit out
I mean,
fire,
but even the blue whale doesn't have like sounds like the sperm whale do. Like the clicks that they do, like, yeah, they can blow out your eardrums and they can vibrate a human body to death.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Imagine being vibrated to death.
Yeah.
Just imagine that.
Yeah, its calls are louder than a jet engine and clocks in at 188 decibels. But it's actually like they've been caught and measured at 230 decibels.
Man.
230 decibels. I don't even like, yeah.
I'm still just trying to wrap my head about vibrating to death.
Yeah. It sounds so loud. Well, like just for context of like how loud a 230 decibels is, a jet engine at 100 feet away is 140 decibels. A 12 gauge shotgun blast is 165 decibels. So like, where is it here? You start experiencing hearing loss at 90 to 95 decibels. At 125 decibels, pain begins. 140, even short-term exposure can cause permanent damage. And then at 194 decibel is one of the loudest sounds possible. But just below that 180 decibels is the death of hearing tissue.
Jeez.
And this thing is at 230 decibels. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like, what do you do with that?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, like it's just like a sound so loud, your body just stops working because it's just like I can't.
Yeah, man.
I'm sorry, I can't. Death. Yeah. I just can't. I'm sorry. It's like sperm whale's like, bro, I was just trying to tell you hi. Like, yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's like, stories of like fiery seas or anything like that from like different mythologies out there too, Yeah. Like, I don't know. It'd be interesting to look into.
Well, one of the sea serpent has always been like such a huge, like thing too, like unexplained like sea serpents and stuff.
Yeah.
While we did talk about the fact that some of those sea serpents that people saw above water were definitely whale penises, like some of the things are like hard to explain too. There's been times where people have seen things like going underneath their boats or going by their boats and stuff and didn't know what it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
People have said they've seen a lot of things over the years.
Yeah. And you know, I
So,
think that
you know.
there can be a lot of dismissal and look at like, oh, that's probably not. But when, you know, one of the things that we've been kind of running into recently with like UFOs is like how many before like one of them is right or one of them saw something, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the hardest part is like in today's day and age, when things happen, we have the technology to record it. So why hasn't there been concrete evidence from somebody who's seen something? It's like you can't always use the excuse of, oh, you know, I didn't have my phone on me, or oh, I didn't have this, or oh, I didn't have that, because like we're in a day and age where everybody has a phone. So it's like sooner rather than later, if someone does truly see something, we're gonna get some kind of good footage on it. Unless that's stuff that's being, you know, like tracked down immediately and deleted, or whatever. Which is also, you know, a possibility. So, you know, it's just interesting. It's like, that's the hardest part for me to get my head around is like, yes, I understand, like, I want to believe that there's a lot of different things, but the hardest part is like, there's, in today's day and age, there's almost no reason not to have concrete evidence at this point.
But
of like what? Of like
UFOs, like alien sightings, of like sea monsters, whatever, you know, whatever things that people have said they've seen or whatever. Like especially UFOs. So
yeah, UFOs for sure. What I think is like a kind of a counterpoint though for specifically the ocean is that we haven't even like we've never even like we've only seen. There's only been one giant squid caught on camera ever. Like period in the history of like since we've been doing this. And then I think we've seen two that like have floated up onto the surface, and they were relatively, I mean, they were big, but they were relatively, they weren't like fully mature. Some of them were adults that hadn't finished growing. So like we've only ever seen like 3 of those, or like what we talked about like before, like the goblin shark and how it's only ever been seen. It's been seen before, but they've never even seen one like eating. They don't even know how they eat or like their habits. Because these deep sea creatures are like
they're deep sea, right?
They're super deep, and we can't like observe them and stuff.
We've explored so little of the ocean. Like that's the thing is like I would give a lot more grace when it comes to the ocean because there's so little of it explored. And I think that's you know, that's a fair point. It's like, well, yeah, we're not always going to be, you know, in the right place at the right time, especially in the ocean when we've covered such a small percentage of it.
That's definitely something that annoys me about like, especially like Bigfoot though, because I just saw the other day, someone like post a picture of like this thing that they think is like Bigfoot.
Yeah.
It's another one of those like super grainy pictures.
Yeah.
Like, okay, come on. come on.
It's okay.
It's 2021. Almost everyone, like literally like pretty mumuch every phone today has like an HD camera.
Good quality. Right.
Like, what?
It's interesting that you bring that up because that's been one of my biggest frustrations. I literally just read an article last week about a guy who claims that he traveled to the future, to a futuristic city in like 2009 or like the 3000s or something, or 4000s, right? And he brings back a picture as evidence that he traveled through time, but it's super, super grainy. And it's like this like futuristic cityscape, but it's like really grainy and you can't tell what it is. And there's like some excuse that he has for like it got warped by the time travel.
He said time travel warps photos and warps like video evidence and stuff.
And it's just like the story in and of itself is very interesting and compelling, but it sounds like something that I could do if I was storytelling.
I think you shared that article, right, Mike?
I think I did.
I don't know if we even shared it. I just found it when I was browsing.
That sounds familiar. So somehow I heard about it from Mike, I think. So we'll have to do an episode about that at some point.
For sure. Because I mean, dude, like time travel is crazy. But there's never like enough evidence, or like it was funny. I like just like to find different people that have like said things or claimed things, and like this one guy claimed that he was a time traveler, and so he had all this information, and then like gave specific dates when things were supposed to happen, and then like none of them happened, and people were like, so what was all that about? And they're like, and he just doesn't respond and then changes the dates on them.
Jeez, of course.
Yeah.
See, and like at the end of the day, that's why stuff like that's frustrating, because it's like, well, it's probably just someone trying to make a buck or even just gain internet clout at this point from telling the story that inevitably someone probably will believe. And it's, you know, it's like I wish there was more honesty, and B, you know, at this point in time, fuzzy images are not going to cut it. It's like, if you do see something, like, chances are we're going to be able to get some kind of concrete footage or evidence or whatever. So.
Absolutely. And like you said, like, there can be like, there's definitely grace for people that are like, can't, you know, as far as things underwater, because it's like, hey, what do you know, do with that? But there's also like the fact that like some of the things that we have seen from like the deep sea, like, are like terrifying. Like go look at like pictures of like some of the anglerfish and stuff like that like people have seen. Like, those things are like crazy. You know, I mean, they're like things like out of like science fiction. And so you do wonder, like, you know, and that another thing is like how sometimes surprisingly like big things are in the ocean, you know, like the tuna fish can be like 600 pounds. And you don't think about that. You're thinking
it's always a bigger fish.
Yeah, like you think, oh, well, it's a tuna fish. Like, how big can it really be? Those things can be massive. I mean, and like great white sharks can be 20 feet long. So those are huge. And you just kind of almost sometimes wonder, like, maybe they're just like a small selection, because like maybe they are dying out. Maybe there's a small selection of things that do like live in the bottom of the ocean. I mean, like the fact that giant squid live down there and they can be as big as they can, and the fact that like sperm whales like to go down there to like eat them. Yeah. You know, you wonder like, okay, well, you know, maybe there's something else that likes to snack on that, because nature has a way of balancing. Yeah. Like, so, you know, if something can eat a whale, well, how big is that thing, you know? And how can we, maybe we've never seen it because the ocean's too big to even look for those things, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, if you have like a guy who's like a third party source who's, you know, going there and to the oil spill or whatever and saying that it's not an oil spill and all of that, you know, like, I don't know, it does make it hard to really like trust or like, you know, who to believe in, you know?
Right.
Like, you know, we all know that like, even like, you know, people who are part of the military, the government and stuff, like they can say whatever they want to say too.
They can say whatever they want to say and they can make it seem like it is the truth.
Yeah.
Regardless.
So I mean, it's just one of those things where you just don't really know, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Which is the frustrating part, you know, like I said, it's just so difficult with all these different things, you know, and you just don't know what's real and what's not. And it's frustrating. But, you know, to be fair, I still think that we've had aliens living among us for a long time, and those are octopus. I still am completely convinced that octopi are not of this planet.
What's a close relative of octopus?
Nothing.
Squids.
No. There's nothing that scientists can even confirm as like or believe that is a distant relative of an octopus. They got blue blood, for Pete's sake. There's nothing else on the planet that has blue blood.
But look at how similar squid are. Maybe squid and octopus are like,
maybe,
you know,
I don't know. Octopi are also incredibly intelligent.
Yeah,
it's just like, I don't know, freaking crazy animals.
Yeah.
I mean, even with giant squid and stuff, you know, there's like, obviously we know about like the Kraken and stuff too.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure that's where the legend or stories of the Kraken come from.
Yeah. And who's to say that there wasn't like, you know, squids that are even bigger at one point in the past or something like that,
or even octopi that are bigger, because often the images that we see of a Kraken look more like an octopus than they do like a squid.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
one of the largest, right now, currently the largest giant squid ever recorded was 43 feet long.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's nuts. You know, like, what do you do with that?
I wonder what the biggest octopus is that was ever found.
Probably not super big. Octopus don't get incredibly large.
Crap. Giant Pacific octopus. The giant Pacific octopus is considered the largest octopus species in the world and inhabits the northern Pacific Ocean of the United States up to Alaska and around Japan. The largest individual on record weighed in
30 feet,
600 pounds, and measured 30 feet across in length.
So I guess it is pretty big.
So imagine, 600 pounds, 30 feet in length. And we've talked about before in like this podcast and stuff, you know, things are not as like the conditions for like life to flourish like it used to are not the same. There's tons of pollution in the ocean. There's all these problems. Like how do we know that some of these things, like what if octopus used to be normally that size? Like giant octopus used to be normally. What if that's like not even, it didn't used to be an outlier, you know? Before?
Yeah, right.
Like, you know, I mean, so for all we know, you know, some of the stories of Kraken could have been a giant octopus that was like, hey man, like let's chill. Or maybe he was like, hey bro, I'll snack on a person.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, 600 pounds, that's huge. 30 feet, that's freaking huge. But like, imagine, I don't know, twice that size because the ocean conditions are just perfect. You know?
Yep, exactly.
What do you do with a 60 foot, 1,200 pound octopus? Like nothing. You don't tell it.
You just die. That's exactly what you do.
Yeah. There's that one like drawing of like a Kraken attacking a ship. I don't know if you guys.
It looks like an octopus.
Yeah, it looks like an octopus, but that drawing was drawn in 1802.
Yeah.
So, you know, and obviously, like, you know, and in a lot of ways, you know, the ocean was kind of like I guess, kind of the last refuge against a lot of the pollutions that are in the world and stuff. And so, you know, it's very possible that things in the ocean could have flourished longer than a lot of the things on land have and stuff, and could have, I guess, continued to remain large for a very long time, you know? So,
no, absolutely.
Because, you know, we all, I mean, there's so many like stories out there of like sailors and all sorts of people who have like these fears of the creatures of the deep and stuff. You know, some of that obviously could have just been the fear of the unknown, because, you know, literally like the ocean wasn't explored at all at that point. So people didn't know what the heck was down there. But, you know, it could have also have some ties into things that people have heard, stories that were passed around. You know, so, you know, obviously we have like this drawing as well of like this freaking octopus is like the size of a ship, like taking it down and stuff. So it's crazy.
And you know what, maybe, I mean, obviously stories get bigger with time. Maybe it's possible, and this may back up me and Ben a little bit, maybe there were canoes. Maybe the canoes were what drew these animals out. And you know what?
Maybe.
I'd rather be able to escape it in a kayak and be stuck in a damn canoe and watch myself get pulled to the bottom of the ocean.
Right.
But hey, at least if you're in a canoe, you'd be with someone else, you know?
You get to die with somebody else. You're absolutely right. And then my ass with a kayak is speeding off down the coast, and you're stuck with a giant octopus dragging you down to the ocean depths.
I mean, I don't think you could escape a giant octopus that big in a freaking kayak.
Listen, if they're eating you in a canoe, I've escaped it.
Yep, exactly.
Well, I wouldn't be next to you anyway if you were in a freaking kayak.
I freaking told you I was going to bring this shit back around.
The thing is, Josiah is just going to be getting murdered. He's going to be getting murdered.
If it means being eaten by a giant octopus, then so be it. I will continue to canoe.
Mike and I are just going to be getting away with our lives in kayaks.
Yeah.
With all of my honor and pride.
That's not, no, you know what? You can call it whatever you want to call it.
What did I say the other night would be a really honorable death? What did I say that was? Do you remember that?
No.
What was that? It was during a stream. I said something would be an honorable death, and I don't remember what it was. I was laughing about it because it was ridiculous. I don't even remember.
I don't remember.
I don't remember, but it came up on a stream. So but that's
back around.
That's what reminds me of that.
Good job, Mike.
Honorable death.
You're freaking welcome.
Oh man. So you know, with that being said, let us know what you think.
Yes.
Lies in the deep. Let us know what you think could be the real explanation of these fiery incidents that are happening across the world and all these different bodies of water.
Boom.
Very
Exactly.
interesting. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Subscribe for watching us on YouTube. We'd appreciate that a lot. Leave a like and all that good stuff. And if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, please leave a review. It helps us out a lot, and it really means a lot to us. So thank you, everyone, and we will talk to you all next week. Bye.
My fingers look so bad.